So about an hour's coach ride from the McKinley Princess Lodge took us to this little town called Talkeetna, Alaska. A town of less than 1,000 people, and it's the town that the show Northern Exposure was based on. They filmed the first season here and then decided to move it to Washington State for cost purposes. This is the restaurant we were told has the best breakfast in town, so we'll give it a shot. This place is a madhouse. It's family style seating. Their big thing was their sourdough pancakes. With birch syrup. And it was packed in here today. So as you continue down Talkeetna's main street, you come to their general store, and right outside the general store is the mayor of the town. What's his name? Stubbs.
Yeah, I mean, if you go in the pub.
Skylight. So we just passed through the town of Wasilla. Since it's only a 45-minute commute to Anchorage, a lot of people are choosing to live out here instead. And they say Wasilla is the duct tape capital of the world. And what else did they say? Oh yes, the home of Sarah
Palin. The house that she did live in as governor is not visible from the railroad. But she moved around. She lived in a few different houses in Wasilla.
Osprey nest.
So I've been told only the first 3 stories of that house are accessible by indoor staircases, and the last 4, the top 4, you actually have to climb ladders on the outside of the structure to access them.
It's Pioneer Peak, 6,000 feet.
Brackish water, but instead of fresh water, it's glacier water combining with that salt water, and it creates sort of a boiling effect. Almost looks like boiling popsicle. Essentially pickled these trees. They're not quite dead, but they're certainly not alive. That's why they call it the ghost.
Fighter jet from the Air Force Base. That's awesome.
At 3 o'clock, you can see that F-22 Raptor in the sky again. And while you're in Anchorage, you'll probably notice a lot of bush planes flying overhead, a lot of float planes flying overhead.
So we're in Anchorage. It took about 3 hours. Saw an eagle, 2 moose, and some fighter jets. So that was a good time.
It opens, as you can see, with these steep mountains on the left. You can imagine getting 30 or 40 feet of snow in the wintertime, and sometimes it comes crashing down as an avalanche. And the state of Alaska spends much labor and time clearing avalanches along this stretch of the road.
So we're leaving Anchorage on the old Seward Highway. This is the Cook Inlet, and there's a lot of glacial water here, silt. Last night we saw a beautiful sunset in Anchorage after a great anniversary dinner, and I accidentally erased the footage of that beautiful sunset. But now we're on the motor coach on our way to the Wildlife Conservation Center.
And the beluga whales will chase the hooligans in here for feeding, and during that time of the year, which is in the springtime, the natives used to put spotters on these rocks here, and then they'd have men out in kayaks or canoes in the water, and when they would spot a pod of beluga whales, they would try to harvest them. A very productive mine. And the workers that worked in the mine used to live in this area. At one time they lived right along the ocean here, but in 1964, during the Good Friday earthquake that measured 9.2 on the Richter scale, all of this land sank about 8 to 10 feet, all the way down to Portage. So many of the folks that lived closer to the ocean here moved back into these valleys. It's a world-class ski resort. The United States Olympic team trains there on occasion. And it has the distinction of being the closest ski resort in North America to the ocean. As the crow flies, it's only about 2 miles from the ocean back to the ski resort. Deposited in the Cook Inlet in this area. And because of the strong tidal flow, most of that silt remains in the inlet, and you can see the effects of hundreds of thousands of years of glacial silt filling up the Cook Inlet. Very, very shallow.
Very low tide right now, but he was saying if you tried to step out onto that silt, you would end up sinking right in. Like quicksand. This is the Wildlife Conservation Center, where you can see a whole host of rehabbing animals in beautiful scenery.
I got a big audience today.
I'm not doing either with you, dude.
Stop showing off.
Showing us his bare butt.
Sharon, you see this one?
He's telling us those trees in the background are dead from the earthquake in '64. It sent all the silt flooding over and killing all those trees.
Some berries, don't you?
I love how that bird's not afraid of him. You know? Tiny little bird's not afraid of him.
He eats bugs and berries.
baby moose, just like the one we just passed in the coach with its mom. That bull moose. It's feeding time.
Boss during the rut season this year.
Well, you have to separate them.
No, these two we just leave in here. The reason why I got my coworker who's working on this fence line up here. And if you guys see that little black patch on top of his nose, it's called the nasolabial patch. And in the wild, that's what moose, if you see them picking up in the trees, they're sensing like parts of the leaves with that little patch. It's like neuron sensors that'll click in their brain like that's an edible piece. Males have this. Females just have a black.
They were all at the house.
They've never kicked anybody here, but they use it.
These guys are 3 years old.
How much?
3 years old. Wow. They lived till about 10 in captivity, she said.
But with reindeer, you normally see them rear up.
Some female elk.
There's a fox right there, but he never came out.
So this is a rehabbing eagle. We just passed one up in the tree on the coach on the way here. And then we saw one flying next to us on the train yesterday.
This is the Corners Valley area, and they get a lot of precipitation back here. Normally it's very rainy here, but in the winter very, very snowy. These lampposts that look like lampposts without lights on them are actually guides, so the snow removal folks can figure out where the road is. Again, that greenish blue tint is thousands of years of packed ice, which causes glaciers. But we do recognize that some people are uncomfortable in closed spaces, which this is one. This tunnel was built by the military so the railroad could come through here, and they did not build it for good looks. They built it to be straight and quick.
We're driving on the railroad tracks right now. We're going to be in here for about 8 or 10 minutes, and when we get out, we're going to be in Whittier.
Yeah, that's probably a good thing.
So now the ocean part of your cruise vacation is going to begin. You picked a beautiful date. I have not been down here one single day when it was this sunny. So you should be able to see the orcas, the killer whales when you leave.
One of the first ones on the ship already, the Island Princess. Beautiful atrium. From the 14th deck of the ship, taking a look at this glacially fed waterfall right on the side of this snow-capped mountain, and it feeds right down into the river and then continues right into the body of water that we're sitting in.
I'm this one of us.
She don't even have enough strength. She's too old. And getting older. This week I'll be older.
I think I see something. Yep. You see it?
He's peeking out. Come on, jump. Coming this way.
Oh, Oh, there's more than one.
Yeah, there's one behind him. There's one right
Oh, there's
here.
3 of them.
Oh, one right here. Oh, look. Right here.
Dolphin.
They're all over the place.
Are they dolphins?
Hopefully he knows.
Seriously, guys, get out of the way.
Yeah. Right out here.
All right.
100 yards away, right there.
Oh yeah, now we have more stones.
Sailing right into the little pieces of ice as we head to our first glacier at sea. So we're looking at Turner Glacier, which is the piece of ice right there that is dirt covered, and then that connects with the white looking glacier, which is Hubbard Glacier. And our naturalist was just saying that we're about 5 miles, 4 to 5 miles out from Hubbard Glacier right now. And it's a 5-mile long glacier that continues, and he was saying that the face of the glacier itself is about 400 feet tall, plus another 200 goes under sea level. But it's hard to believe that we're 5 miles, 4 to 5 miles out from that right now. And you can see all the different chunks of ice that have broken off over the past couple of years right here in the bay.
Great shots there.
Right here.
Yeah, they were amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Don't worry about it. Watch your camera, you have
Sailing out of Hubbard Glacier and the bay. Spent a good couple of hours here.
You'll see there's no paper, no stencils, no drawings. The gentlemen are all working straight from memory here today, straight from memory, to create approximately 9 different creations for you today. That one's the lead. So the Black Beauty, the eggplant, very, very popular here in our fruit and vegetable carving demonstrations. This is as much a performance and a show as it is a fun demonstration, so please no, you can take photos at the end as well. And there you go, ladies and gentlemen, with Pingu the Penguin and his elf hood. He has literally Stephen for Edward's final one.
No, I'm not sure where.
There he is, Sam.
Yep. Yep.
There he is, right there.
Friday morning here at the Horizons Breakfast Buffet area. Another day of scenic cruising. This is Glacier Bay, which they were telling us as of 250 years ago was not a bay at all, but all glacier.
You have chosen the right day to visit Glacier Bay. It is absolutely spectacular outside, and while the clouds are out there, they are high and above even the highest peaks. Today, we are able to see the tallest peak of all off to the left-hand side, Mount Fairweather at 15,300 feet, or about 4,700 meters, is visible. This is the time to get outside. We will start seeing glaciers in just a few minutes here. Already in the distance, we can see a few coming down those high Fairweather mountains.
Try and zoom in on those kayakers for perspective. To how big this glacier is. And how big these mountains are.
Take a look around at the landscape, look at all the different colored rocks and formations, and see if you can figure out what it is you're looking at.
There's another boat that's going to give a lot of perspective to this shot. That goes into Johns Hopkins Inlet and then Johns Hopkins Glacier. You can see how tiny that boat looks compared to all the scenery. So Ranger Dan was just showing us that Johns Hopkins Mountain Inlet here and Johns Hopkins Glacier there, which is 5 miles away.
Where does he live? Oh, that's a nice area.
Yeah.
Is he retired? Is still working?
Still working.
Well, you could easily find a spot at the pool today. The Island Princess is not about swimming here, as we're surrounded by mountains and glaciers here in Glacier Bay. There's a look at Johns Hopkins Glacier from our stateroom. We just came back to charge the batteries, literally, in the cameras. We're now heading back the way we came and making our way to Marjorie Glacier, which is supposed to be the highlight. Shows like a cat sitting in the window.
Meow. Meow. Meow.
See the waterfalls?
Meow, 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 meow. Oh.
Those are the kayakers that looked like little rocks earlier. Little dots up next to the glacier. They still look pretty small next to the mountain. We're now in the Tar Inlet on our way to Marjorie Glacier. They only let 2 cruise ships in here to Glacier Bay a day. So as this ship is coming away from Marjorie Glacier, we're going to go see it.
Breeding pairs in the rest of the country combined. Today, because we have stopped using certain pesticides, there are over 100,000 breeding pairs in the rest of the United States, and here in Alaska, there are many thousands more.
Right.
We don't even have an accurate count on how many bald eagles live here, but there's about 1 nest for every mile of shoreline here in Glacier Bay. They were an integral part of our heritage, part of who we are.
3 dark spots.
I saw it.
Are they seals?
Right on the water. Right
Are they
three
seals?
dark spots.
I don't know. You got the binoculars.
Yeah.
It may just be dark.
This is Marjorie Glacier. We've already seen it calve 3 times. You could see it and then hear it. We're about maybe a half a mile out. Itself, it's 250 feet tall, so about half the size of Hubbard Glacier yesterday, but it's a mile wide and about 14 miles long when it goes all the way in. Got some seals sitting out there. Hearing a lot of cracking. The naturalist said that it moves 4 to 7 feet a day. You can see how far back it goes.